Sonic Adventure 2 is an integral part of my childhood. And as such, I'm surprised I'm not a furry, and I guess I never asked the question, which has a better story? Dark mode or light mode? For those of you who don't know, Sonic Adventure Battle 2 has 2 story modes, in which you play 3 different types of levels with mirroring cast, and 1 after story that I'm not going to touch on during this video, because the levels itself, they all suck. What I am going to do is I'm going to rate each level using 3 metrics, ignoring all non-story mode variants of the level. The metrics are flow. How well does the level transition from area to area? Is enemy placement good enough to not completely throw off the level vibes and the flow of the speed of the characters? Are there badly designed annoying enemies? And for Knuckles and Rouge stages, do hints actually help? How bad is the climbing? Jank. It's a Sonic game. Honestly, there's going to be so much jank. Bad map design, bad gravity, bad physics, bad geometry, and waiting sections. Vibe, pretty self-explanatory. It's the opinion-based part of the video, but thankfully, I like the game, so if the soundtrack, the aesthetic, and the gimmicks in level are fun enough for me to not be like, oh yeah, I'll rate it highly. Right, at the end, I'll tally who has higher scores on average on each thing, and yeah, let's get started. City Escape is short, sweet, and to the point. There's not much that could go wrong with it, because it mostly gets carried on vibes. So to start, vibes. Escape from the City is the best Bud Rock song you can get into a game with. Yeah, it's cheesy, but it's also the perfect energy for a Sonic game. And something that I've literally sang in a car with acquaintances. You ride a broken piece of a helicopter and crash into cars for no reason, so points for that. And aesthetically, it's a city that doesn't make sense. Oh no, game designers had to make some non-realistic liberties. Oh, and this is the only running towards camera level I've ever played and not wanted to break my controller on, so points for that. For vibes, 10 out of 10 rings. There's very little jank in this level, unless we're talking about the truck scene, which has, you know, a little bit of an annoying camera. Jank, 10 out of 10. Good job. The level itself is good, flow-wise. It has multiple paths on replay that feel buttery smooth. I was going to call the level plan, and I realized you can actually jump off the side of the building because the devs didn't restrict your movement on the elevator section. And this is, well, the perfect intro level. 10 out of 10 rings, which means this one gets one of the chaos numbers, which only the 7 best levels get in this video. Wild Canyon. This is an incredibly compact and well-designed stage. The hints are perfect, and honestly, this level is a good introduction to Knuckles and Rouge stages. Playing through this again makes you realize you are really designed to play hero side first, because dark levels are harder, quotation mark. Not worse, but harder, quotation mark. It's just really the best intro to Knuckles and Rouge stages. The hints are well made though. You know, they make actual sense. I'll give this level 9 out of 10 Legos. However, the aesthetic of Wild Canyon is also peak Knuckles. Can't say I can complain about the song at all, and even if it's cheesy, it's not the cheesiest Knuckles song. So, the song doesn't actually make me cringe inside secretly. 10 out of 10 rings. Because the level is not gimmicky, it is relatively free of jank. Even for a level in a normal game, like not even in a Sonic game, this level just perfectly functions. No weird enemy placements, just a normal level. 10 out of 10 rings. Wow, another emerald. So this level is also a banger. And I am not afraid to give the theme a 10 out of 10 itself. And the fact that it's the introduction to the best non-supersonic upgrade ever created, the Light Dash, is not lost on me. The Light Dash, the gimmick for this level, makes the replay of this level more of a, wow, that's cool, since they tease the Light Dash before you have it, which is good design. One-on-one showing, not telling. They show a trail of rings leading off into the sun, and you probably go, hey, I want to get those. And you can, once you get the Light Dash. Pretty standard. Jump from platform to platform until you get to the Light Dash unlock, which is gated by, you know, you having to go up to the left, which I've done before. and wham! Now you can dash through ring lines, so good design there. The rest of the level is alright. The light dash is used liberally, and thus, it is a more fun level because of it. The ending section has 2 routes. The normal human way, which I ignored while recording my footage, and the harder route, which I thought was impossible without glitches until today, during my recording. And now I know it's not. And having a more difficult version of the level is never bad. There's another metal surfboard section, less cool than the first level, but it's still decent. Unfortunately, the boost platforms in this level are mostly a waste of time. If they weren't, then this would... Why did I write this? No, this level is perfect. 10 out of 10 vibes, 10 out of 10 flow, 10 out of 10 on the jank. Still one of the best levels ever made. And that means it gets a Chaos Emerald. Oh. Oh no. This level is bad. Like, unironically, Tails and Eggman levels... I was gonna say that, okay, upon playing the game over again, they don't fall below standards. This level is just really bad. The level has good music, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat this level. This is a terrible level. Let's start with jank. 8 out of 10. This level does some of the things I hate. Camera issues, some bad placements of geometry, nothing egregious, but still barely above playable. Flow. This level had so many enemies that they spawn right where you're fucking supposed to jump. Why would they do this? I'd say this is a continued theme in Tails levels as well, but it really is just this level. And it's not difficult once you know where they are. It's just a cheap hit to your time. 5 out of 10. Vibes. 7 out of 10. Still a banger OST. And the aesthetic of Robocop Prison, still pretty cool. The haha! Let's place random enemies on the map and sometimes hide them to proceed gimmick is a non-gameplay feature. And there's an elevator segment, so it's like, there's a lot of waiting around. So, you know what? Let's knock the flow back down to a 4. And let's give the vibes like a 6 because the level is spoiled from the bad flow. Honestly, this level's good. It has some issues, like why would they place enemies right in front of you that spawn only when you're close to them? I mean, it didn't really trip me up, but I could still see how that's annoying. Since at the Sonic level, it's not as bad as a Tails level, but it's still kinda stupid that they're here. The vibes in this level are immaculate, though. The gimmicks are loop-de-loops without a ground, which is not a real gimmick, but it is funny that they said, whatever. I forgot to add the textures. It's cooler this way. The timer is a non-issue, unless you're in hard mode, but we're not talking about hard mode. The design of the level, going up and down trees and using trees as representation of upper and lower routes, is sick, and I applaud it. So for both flow and vibes, 9 out of 10. For jank, because there's some of the issue I had stated before, even though it exists, this level works better than what you'd expect from the amount of vertical and horizontal movement fused. 9 out of 10. Especially since Sonic doesn't always get up and down levels right. The second Knuckles level. This one is still relatively well made, honestly, compared to some of the more unholy levels in this game. Ugh, mad space. This one is tightly wound, in a good way. This level has flair, it doesn't sprawl out much, it's harder to get lost, and the hints actually make sense. The enemies are designed to be annoying, yeah, but like not like really annoying. The vibes in this level are a bit more cheesy, but I love Halloween soundtracks, so it all works more for me than if it was like Christmas or Thanksgiving themed. In fact, everything is pumpkin themed, so it works well for me. 10 out of 10 on vibes. The hints and layout of this level aren't too bad. The outer pumpkin towers are kind of annoying, but again, that's a nitpick, not a deal breaker. And hints are well made. 9 out of 10 Legos. The level has some climb jank, but it's not really much to complain about at all. 10 out of 10 rings for jank. Is this a good Tails level? Whoa! Mission Street. Hopefully this is the start of the new trend of good Tails levels. The enemies, they aren't placed in places that automatically make me regret opening the Sonic Adventure game. It's beautiful that they actually put the enemies in proper places this time. There's a single instance where they throw missiles at you without warning, and that's actually just to teach you. So it's ironically well designed, teaching you about the missiles that rain from the sky, destroying certain platforms and forcing you to dodge and weave. The thing about them is, you will hear the planes before you get missiled, so instead of being unfair, you get hit with any of the later rockets, that's your fault. This level also introduces the best part of Eggman Tails levels, the Booster! The Booster is an upgrade for both Eggmonk and Tailboy that makes them hover after you press the jump button again in the air. Now there's some momentum exploits you can do to get extra height. But even without doing that, there are a few pauses in the momentum and running to have to wait for elevators. But the elevators are small. And if you have a booster, when you mess them up, you can just go to the lower section of these elevators because they're segmented. So honestly, I'm just baffled there's an actual good Tails level. 9 out of 10 vibes. The planes are loud. Flow, 8 out of 10. You know, there are some elevator sections, but Jank, 9 out of 10. Some of the platforms are a little finicky. That's okay, because they introduced the Booster! Because boosting makes me feel good. Aquatic mine, more like a wild wine. Please don't click off the video. I'm playing Sonic and I'm desperate for viewers. The gimmick in this level is just, what if Water Temple ended? I hate it. The level isn't hard, but adding water levels to a level has always made me feel Can't say I hate the music though. The music slaps very hard. Hit her very hard. There's one critique I have of this level that's not opinion based. The water breathers are actually vital. There's a level in the third story which is mostly underwater. Good luck playing that level without this upgrade. It's not necessarily hidden, but there should be a signpost saying, upgrade here or something. It shouldn't just be hidden without reason in this level. I get it, why a lot of upgrades are hidden, but in this level, it shouldn't be. Granted, music slaps. Not much actual jank in the level. The water level mechanics are pretty harmless, even if I hate them. Vibes, 7 out of 10 rings. Jank, 10 out of 10. Flow, 8 out of 10, only because they should tell you about the breathers, and it makes another level farther on in the game slower and more tedious. Route 101. Not a level, just a terrible car section so boring it could be considered an auto-scroller. I know, there's a car minigame, this is kinda like a tutorial, but this is just going in a curvy line with a terrible vehicle, and I know the car's controls. Don't at me, I'm telling you that from a beginner's perspective, I know from 20 billion years ago that it's terrible. Like, why is that there? Why does it control like that? Somehow I died on this level for the first time in 20 years. Flow, 5. Vibes, 6. Jank, 8 out of 10. Two things. I realize, unironically, if you make the levels shorter by using exploits and Tails levels, they're more bearable than the actual Tails levels. So take that what you will, because the pacing is better when you use exploits, and I instinctively skip half of the sections of Tails levels and feel physical pain when I play the actual Tails levels, because there's so much waiting. And if that's the case, there has to be something wrong with the level itself, right? I wonder if it's the sections where you have to wait around 3 seconds for a falling animation, or the sections where you have to press a button 4 times against a stationary object to blow up a door that does absolutely nothing to progress the game forward or do anything for you points-wise, doesn't give you any extra stories, it's just there, forcing you to wait until your animations go through. These are all things that happen many times throughout the level. And I'd be like, oh, it's satisfying to blow up the constructions and stuff like that, but After the 60 billionth time, it's not. The vibes are also rancid in this level. The level has insta-death sand everywhere. Why would you put sand that kills you instantly on a third level of a game? The music is kinda meh compared to a lot of the rest of the soundtrack. No, wait, this is me during editing? No, that is an incorrect. No, the music is so good, but, oh, the level is so bad. I thought I was going to enjoy this level, but I was wrong. What was I thinking? Vibes. I put -6 out of 10. That sucked. I'm just gonna go with 4 out of 10. Jank. 8 out of 10. Flow. 4 out of 10. Wow! This is a good level. It's refreshing. Especially because the level before this one is awful. So it's great to have a well-designed Sonic level that introduces good gimmicks, which are the bounce ball upgrade, and the timers. The aquas are a perfect fit for this level. I think this may be one of the best Sonic levels in this game, which says nothing, because Sonic levels are usually good in Sonic games. I'm going to pretend like the next 3 decades of 3D Sonic games don't exist for this, and you will too. Oh, and the song slaps so hard for this level. Flow, 9 out of 10. There's a section near the end where you have to sidetrack and collect a special item that slows the level down a bit. No issues otherwise. Jank, no issues, 10 out of 10. Yes. Vibes, talk to me. Okay, talk to a me. Why did you do that 10 out of 10 post-editor here? Honestly, I was expecting a lot worse from this level, but even though the level was too big, comically too big, the keys I found were in obvious places, and this version doesn't have the invincible murder hornet laser robot, it just has lots of ghosts. The song is so chill, it made the level way better, and actually, this is a good Knuckles level. Probably the best Knuckles level. Wait, why is this Knuckles level so good? Vibes 10, Flow 10, Jank 10. This level gets a KS. Sometimes this level has camera issues when you screw up and blow dynamite and threaten to void yourself. And there's this one section where the requirement are you have to have the camera facing backwards to understand what's going on. But other than that, honestly, the vibes for this level are pretty good. I dislike that the gimmick is that you have to avoid using what you've been hardwired to do, shoot everything, but it's not an unbearable gimmick. The fact that this is also the first space level and they introduced the worst enemy in the game, the blobs, is also a downer. But overall, the pacing of this level is brisk enough for how big it is, and the music is good, so most of these things are forgiven. Vibes, 8 out of 10. Flow, 9 out of 10. Jank, 8 out of 10. Well, okay. I guess I forgot to record this. Alright, Meteor hurd. Honestly, not a bad level. It's more just a showcase of the verticality of Knuckles' kit. The hints could use some work. This level honestly feels too simple for the last Knuckles solo level, which is fine, because this is a kid's game, and the music isn't grating. There aren't many enemies here. It feels kinda empty on the lower level. Most of the enemies are stuffed in the higher areas. Somehow there's zero jank in this level, which is crazy because it's a vertical level. Once we get to the Rogue levels, you understand why I'm being way nicer to Knuckles. I do like the 3 different levels. They add a bit to the concept of the level, and I do like how you could break things with the meteors. Flow, 9 out of 10. Pretty good. There's lots of options to go up and down the level. Vibes, 10 out of 10. The song is so good. Jank, 10 out of 10. It's a miracle that this level works, even though it's a vertical level. To be blunt, this is the worst Sonic/Shadow level in the game. But for the most part, this level is fine. The gravity gimmick is alright. The enemies are annoying, sure. But that's not bad for Sonic 8. The ending of the level, though. It gave me motion sickness. Do you understand how bad a level's controls have to be in the game from 2001 to give somebody motion sickness? I promise you, I am almost about to expel rings as I'm typing this. And note to me in the future when I'm reading this, you better not improv this one. This is strictly about the fact that I'm still motion sick and woozy when writing this. The music is kinda grating, but alright. And, the enemies in this level... Thinking about it, no, the enemies in this level suck. Vibes, 6 out of 10. Jank, 2 out of 10. Flow, 7 out of 10. Why? Why? Anyway, Final Rush. The last level of the Sonic story isn't bad at all. After Crazy Gadget, I was practically begging for a good level. And this is a good level, yeah? There's like a miniature amount of jank in the railings, but it's a fun level that doesn't really overstay its welcome. It's less filled with enemies and mostly just a well-paced Sonic level. I mean, there are lots of freefall death zones, and the level overall is pretty rapid, and you can do some skips by just jumping off of platforms. But let's be real. Aesthetically, it doesn't make sense for a lot of these levels to just have a bunch of platforms in the middle of the sky that don't exist. But it's a Sonic game, so I'm not going to subtract too much. If you heard me type on the keyboard, that's because I just retroactively changed the vibes from 10 to 8. Flow is also a 9.5, and the jank is 9 out of 10. Sometimes sometimes the rail grinding is a bit off. I really liked this Sonic story. Oh, and I guess for bosses, I'll just cover them separately during a boss rush at the end of the video. Okay, so there's no reason to have 2 elevator sections. One sufficed. One is too much. So why is there 2? I get it. Make the first level easy, but there are better ways to progress than making stationary doors 12 times throughout a level that you have to break, things that you have to lock onto to progress. The lack of hover also sucks. Feels like this game was designed with hover built in, and the hover was turned into an unlockable later. Honestly, the level has a lot of problems, but the music is really good. It has good vibes. I wouldn't say it's fine, but there isn't really any jank at least. Nothing of that sort. This level gets 6 out of 10 for flow, 9 out of 10 for vibes, and the jank is non-existent. You get a 10 out of 10 there. Rouge has a bad level. This is not that bad level. There are 4 Rouge levels, and only one of them is the worst level in the game. This level is fine. It's completely fine. Rouge has the best music in the game by a long shot, unless you're talking about Sonic. And Rouge is a mirror to Knuckles. In so, the levels that Rouge has mirror Knuckles' levels, which is, I feel like I'm reading off of a script. So Rouge's level is completely water-based. This one in particular is water-based, and it looks exactly like Wild Canyon. I like that because it makes the levels feel mirrored in the way that matters, which is like they've been to different places but just miss each other. This completely fits like with the Sonic and the Shadow theme, like Dark and Light story, how they're basically on the same path, but they're traveling at slightly different paces and in slightly different ways. I like the water additions. I like the fact that you can swim back and forth between the areas with a turtle. There's not much jank in this level, and honestly, this Dry Lagoon has one of the better soundtracks in the game. Soundtracks? Songs. For a Rouge level, flow is 10, the jank is 10, and the vibes? Immaculate. 10 out of 10. Wait, Dry Lagoon gets a Chaos Emerald. Wait, this doesn't fit the narrative! sand ocean. What? Why would they do this? They keep putting instant death levels with Eggman and Tails. The second level of the game for Eggman, it's instant death sand everywhere. And for the third level in the entire story, look, I don't have problems with the platforming, but platforming as Eggman is not intuitive. I'm just saying from a player perspective, even though I didn't struggle, I definitely can see how this would be frustrating for a new player, and how this would be just frustrating in general because of the way that Eggman controls. Who chose to put this instant death quicksand trap level for the second level of the game? I just want to talk. I just want to talk. I'm gonna get him. The gimmick for this level is just slow dynamite blow up to open pathways. Stationary targets that force me to wait. Woo! But I will say, the nighttime desert in Sonic games always have had immaculate music and aesthetic, and this time, it's not different. The vibes here are a 9 out of 10. Nah, it's 10 out of 10. I'm changing the score now. Give me a sec. Edit however long that pauses out and post. Flow 7 out of 10. Jank 9 out of 10. It is called Radical Highway because Shadow is a quack. Level is well made. Feels similar to a Sonic 3 2D level. Why is Shadow so edgy? He's beautiful, beautiful, I tell you. I'm not a furry. The music for Shadow anytime he's in a Sonic game is always my teenage spirit animal. I was an edgelord in high school, so I'd probably not dip below like 10 for vibes because he is my ultimate life. There's not much jank here. A little bit of a stray missile here there, but nothing egregious. The flow on this level is pretty good. There's nothing really stopping you from going forward in ways that make you go fast. Lots of loop-de-loops. Good design. Jank, 9 out of 10. Vibes, 10 out of 10. Flow, 10 out of 10. And then move on with my life. Matt's favorite level. He told me himself! I'm not slandering him at all. I didn't lock him in a basement to stop him bad-mouthing the best level in the entire game. In all seriousness, introducing an unkillable enemy with no explanation. Does Omochao even exist? The level itself is just a worse version of the Knuckles egg-based level with more traps, which means it's the same energy and the same level, but it's slightly worse in every way. It's got a banger OST though, probably my favorite Rouge song in the game. It's got the same problem as the Knuckles level, which is that it's too big. It's too big. Jank, 10 out of 10. Not really many glitches. Vibes, 9 out of 10. The giant electric beetle kind of ruins the vibes a little bit, but the song takes it whoop, way back to the top. Flow, 8 out of 10. It's just the Knuckles level, but slightly worse. Lost Colony, I would say, isn't a bad level at all. Except that there are multiple elevator sections. Other than that, the level itself flows pretty well. There are not many jank issues, but the level is... The developers really liked elevators during the creation of this level, didn't they? Why is half of the level waiting? At least the elevator level has some good music, you know. The level itself is where you get the hover, which, if there wasn't elevator levels if there wasn't elevators scattered all throughout this level, then I would give this level a higher score. But the elevators bring down the flow so bad. There's no real jank from my knowledge though. It's a shame that Eggman and Tails levels love elevator waiting sections. Jank, 10 out of 10. Vibes, 9 out of 10. Flow, 5 out of 10. Weapon spin. Very satisfying level. Funny how being able to shoot lots of things while moving and as something optional is better than having to wait in the same place for years as your bones get old. Sure, you gotta aim your ping pong darts at a newly reinforced iron barrier in the level, That's a form of waiting, but it's nowhere near as egregious as other egg mongoloid levels. Oh, and since you can hover, there are now areas you can hover too, which makes the level more expressive movement-wise. Also, there's no real elevator segments. Please note, you can hover in the other levels too, but this one's actually on the main path. Unfortunately, the enemies in this level are kinda annoying, but they're still bearable. The music does get blared over by the extremely large engines. Why are they so loud? Low, 9 out of 10. Jank, 9 out of 10. Vibes, 8 out of 10. Security hall. Ooh! Ooh. This level is good on its own, without a time limit, but the time limit feels real enough to be an issue if you're new to the game. For someone like me, an intermediate Fortnite Sonic collab streamer, I think the level is well made, and it is more of the best music in the game, so again, good fucking vibes. The laser and hidden door mechanics don't really add much, but the multiple floors do. It gives you the feeling of clearing stuff systematically, which is nice. Which is nice. The music elevates this level to something else though, man. Flow out of 10 is 10! Jank out of 10 is 10! Why out of 10 10! Did I just give a Rouge level a perfect score? What? It steals a Chaos Emerald, I guess. Shadow is so edgy. White Jungle is so good, like unironically. It's the perfect Shadow level. It's crazy how good it is. It's fast, free of jank, and it just feels exquisite to play. I feel like I've descended from the YouTuber plane and gone to the job market and everything after, and before this level feels like a lie. It's really funny because I just quit my job before making this video. This level is so much better than Green Forest. Look, as you can tell, I'm an edgy teenage emo girl at heart. Vibes 10 out of 10. Flow 10 out of 10. Jank 10 out of 10. And like that, another emerald is secured. Oh yeah. Everything I said in the other car level applies here, but there are gaps in the wall, and it will sometimes shoot you over the wall at the end of the level. Causing me to, so the rating is the same. Let me double check that the rating is the same real quick. I think I actually copied and pasted it. Yeah, I did. It's the same. Just making sure. Shadow levels really hit different when you're older. I guess for starters, the music rules. Plus the aesthetic is nice. Really love that canyon and the sky look. But design-wise, all but the last part of the level where you can walk under the emblem is perfect. It's exactly what you want in a Sonic Shadow level. High speed, gimmicks that require a bit of timing, and lots of forward momentum. Low is 10 out of 10. Jank is 9.5 out of 10. Vibes, 10 out of 10. Wow, another emerald. Mad space. No. Just no. No level should have Mario Galaxy mechanics made by modern day Blizzard Entertainment. The amount of gravity jank in this level alone brings this game down from an 8 to a 7.5 in my book. If you deleted this level and Crazy had a slightly better gravity section at the end, this game would be a 9 out of 10. I don't think you understand how bad this level is. It's really absolutely vile. Nothing works in this level. It's too big, too glitchy. The hints are awful. Nothing I can say can prepare you for how bad this level is. Jank, 0 out of 10. Low, 4 out of 10. Vibes, 4 out of 10. The choice to take the best parts of Tails and Eggman levels and turn them into unique mechanics is an inspired, well-punctuated choice that is ever present throughout this level. And oh god, I am so tired I started to speak in book. The level has 2 auto-scrollers. Finally, they did something with them. They did what they were half attempting to do with other elevator segments and turned them into on-rail shooters. Points for that. Music is good enough for this level for me not to be like, ugh. Vibes. 9.5 out of 10. Low. 10 out of 10. Jank. 10 out of 10.
Wow, another envelope.
Final Space is... It's called Final Space or Final Chase? Let me check. It's called Final Chase. Okay. It's a solid shadow level that is let down by a wee bit of gravity jank. Design-wise, the level itself is good. The gravity tubes just feel unfinished. As a beginner, I'd imagine the tubes are a nightmare, but the tubes are fine for me. But still, I can't pretend that forcing a contrarian mechanic in a game about speed, forcing you to slow down or instantly lose a shadow head is a good design choice. Also, the music in this level feels like you're sucking in pool noodle air through your ears. If I wasn't clouded by nostalgia, I'd probably hate the music. Jank, 7. Flow, 8 out of 10. Vibs, 7 out of 10. And rating levels is over. Squeaky chair, squeaky chair, squeaky chair, squeaky chair. So congrats to Dark Story. You got more hits than you got, failures. Since this is an afterward, we're just checking scores and stuff like that. I'm gonna point out one thing that I think nobody was surprised by. Because Sonic and Rouge had 2 of the worst levels in the entire game, their scores got brought down. As a result, Shadows and Knuckles and Shadow won over the other 2. Tails was by far the worst performing character with nothing above a 7.5 for the average score. And I just did some basic math to calculate the score. Sorry, I know the rest of the video was like more heavily scripted, and I know you hear the squeaky chair, but this is just closer to like I'm freeballing and to get this out of the way for you guys. Eggman did way better than I thought he did. I think it's obviously his flow was low. It was like a 7.5, but his levels had good themes, and there was not that much jank in the Eggman levels. But Tails kind of like fell short across the board. It's interesting that Shadow got like so many good levels, and there were so many consistent good levels. Sonic had more levels, obviously, but Shadow just had better levels. And honestly, I've decided to postpone doing the boss level video. I might just make that a short. I appreciate everyone who has watched so far. Thank you so much for watching. If you would, you could please subscribe. I know blah blah blah, but I just want to hit like 1,000 subscribers so I can start monetizing for the channel. I really hope I do. But for now, thank you everyone so much for watching, and bye-bye!